municipality.
A what?
You know, a city, a town, a village. They all mean the same thing in Florida. A municipality. It's a community. Doesn't matter what size, really, that's run by the people who live there. Kind of like a business. In fact, municipalities are actually corporations with very specific powers.
Really? So how would it work?
Well, let's say a group of neighbors, like yours for example, all decide they want more services than they have now. You know, like a shared water system instead of each person having their own well, and a central sewer system instead of each person having a septic tank, and a fire truck, with firemen of course, in case someone's house catches on fire, and police officers to protect everyone.
Whoa, who's gonna pay for all of that? And who's in charge?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Who's in charge here?
When you form a municipality, you elect a handful of people to be city officials, sometimes as little as 3, but usually 5 or 7. It's best to have an odd number in case they vote on something and need a tiebreaker. The city officials are called commissioners or council members, and the leader of the group is usually called the mayor. Decide which services they want and write it all down in their charter.
A charter?
Yep, a city's charter is kind of like its constitution, a social contract of sorts that is adopted by the people it governs. Every city in Florida has one, and it can only be changed by the residents, not the elected officials.
How it all gets paid for?
Yes, that's where property taxes and user fees come in.
Property taxes? User fees?
That's what homeowners and businesses pay based on the value of the actual property they own.
That's what property taxes and user fees are for. Got it.
Right. And they pay for all sorts of services that enhance our quality of life.
Like parks and rec?
Right. And solid waste and garbage disposal.
And water and sewage.
There you go. How about libraries? That's where I learned all the stuff.
And cemeteries. And urban planning and economic development.
You got it. And others to keep the public safe like
The police department.
yes, and the fire department.
Building inspection.
And the people you call when a wild alligator climbs a fence into your yard.
Whoa, what?
You know, animal control.
Oh, right.
And transportation, airports, buses, road maintenance, bicycle paths, sidewalks.
Wow, I guess cities really do provide a lot of services. But again, who's in charge of it all?
It depends. Some cities choose the mayor-council form of government, and some choose the council-manager form.
Wow, I thought this was going to be easy.
In a council-manager form, however, the elected officials are more like a board of directors, and they hire a CEO to run things at the city. That's called the city manager. There are other forms too, but these are the main ones. Then there are counties. In Florida, counties are basically tiny states with yet another layer of government. There are 67 of those. Did you know no matter where you go in the state, you're always in a county? Then there are school districts and water management districts and fire districts and hundreds more special districts.
So, municipal government is where people that live in a community make decisions for just the people in that community.
Right. It's called home rule. The people of Florida granted cities and counties the right to make their own decisions about their own services in their own communities right at home, without having to go to Tallahassee or Washington, D.C. to get approval, with some exceptions. The best part about local government, you get to have a voice in what happens. You can text, email, call, or even better, show up and speak. Once all the positions are heard, the city officials will take a vote and then tell city staff what to do based on the outcome.
But what if you don't like the decision that was made?
Well, you might not always get what you want, but if you don't like it, you can always move to another town, or protest, or run for office.
You know, it seems to me that local government affects our communities much more than any other layer of government.
Absolutely. It's the government closest and most responsive to the people. We need local government. Elected officials and the staff they employ are the best equipped to respond to and make decisions about the local communities they serve. They know that what works in Miami or Tampa may not work in Live Oak or Chattahoochee, and that's okay. Florida has over 400 cities, and they are all different, with different people, with different needs, with different cool things about them.
I like that about our state. It's filled with diversity.
I like it too.